Hello and thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome to the Nerdstalgia channel where tonight we will be ranking top 5 Keanu Reeves movies. What comes in at number 5 for you, Rich?
Point Break. I mean, it's a ridiculous premise. Guy goes undercover to try to catch guys that are surfers by day and moonlight as bank thieves. Somehow it works. Probably mostly because Gary Busey's in the movie, but
I
and,
love Gary Busey.
well, that's what I mean. Everything he's in is probably just made that much better because he's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a guilty pleasure movie for sure. It holds up reasonably well. Not great, but there is certainly a nostalgia factor to it, which is, kind of the point of this channel. So that is my number 5 Keanu Reeves movie.
My number 5, top 5 Keanu Reeves movies all time. The Devil's Advocate coming in at number 5. I'm curious if this has made your list or not. I don't know. I can't wait. But let's be honest. It's one of those movies that I feel like flies under the radar. Okay.
Absolutely.
And it's not just for Keanu Reeves. It flies under the radar for Al Pacino too. And it is an absolute masterpiece of a movie.
I'm guessing when you first saw it, it wasn't in theaters, right?
No, I didn't see it in theaters. No, I think I saw it. I think I borrowed it as a VCR tape from my Aunt Diane. What an awesome job that Al Pacino did playing the devil. Like, it was just such a different take. It was so well done, so well written, and I think it still holds up today and belongs on any top 5 list when we're talking Keanu Reeves.
Agreed.
Number 4.
Might be a little low, but
I love to hear that. All right, number 4, Rich, go ahead.
Number 4, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I had a feeling that would make your list.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the definitive adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. All-star cast: Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins. It's just a fantastic movie. It is probably the closest to the actual novel that any Dracula movie has been. Really doesn't pull any punches. There's some pretty brutal scenes throughout, but yeah, it's fantastic. Gary Oldman as Dracula is amazing. Anthony Hopkins, obviously, everything he's in is great, and
everything Anthony Hopkins touches is great.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is my number 4.
Coming in at number 4, I feel like you might say too low here, but guess what? Number 4, Speed.
Did not make my list.
Didn't make your list.
Didn't make my list.
A top 5 Keanu Reeves movies without Speed on it is not a top 5 list in my house. But we'll listen. Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves, and what's his name? What's the actor's name? The villain?
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, it took me a minute.
Unbelievable. And I feel like it was one of those first. And I know it was a big thing in the 90s when that was happening, where there was like a timer. But like, man, you felt it. Like, you felt that timer. Like, there was such a time crunch, and you had innocent people involved. Like, it was just an absolute heart-pounding anxiety fest. And Keanu Reeves crushes it in that role. I love it. I can't say enough about it. I could spend a whole episode talking about Speed, but I won't.
Speed episode, Nerdstalgia.
Yes, exactly. That's my number 4 with a bullet. We'll take it over to you for number 3.
All right. So, for my number 3 movie, I am going to go with the movie that kicked off the Keanu Reeves renaissance, the original 2014 John Wick. Again, my top 5 has an asterisk next to it because I haven't seen the new John Wick, but
Well, it also has an asterisk because you don't have Speed on your list.
Well, that can be a debate for another time, but fun movie, but I don't think it's top 5 worthy. Anyway.
Craziness.
Yeah, I mean, John Wick in my eyes is just about the perfect action movie. You know, gets right into it. There's very little setup. You know, they kill his dog, and that's pretty much all you need to know. I mean,
Dude,
that's
spoiler.
well, I mean, if you haven't seen the original John Wick by now, what are you even doing watching? It was a nonstop action movie from beginning to end, pretty much perfect. It really ushered in a whole new era of action movies that just ultra brutal, ultra violent, every kill trying to outdo the last kill kind of thing.
And the realism behind those kills. You know what I noticed with John Wick that you don't see a lot in action movies are the little things like that taking that magazine out, having to reload it in between. It's little details like that. I mean, the devil's in the details, and man, did they kill it.
Not only that, but they in that very first movie started to build this world that obviously they've expanded on now with 4 movies, spin-offs planned, but all of that groundwork was laid in that first movie.
Yeah.
Just, the whole backstory, really fantastic.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with it being on the list. I think it's a little low, but coming in at my number 3, I went with the original Matrix at number 3. Groundbreaking at the time. We had never seen anything like it. And at a time where, there was just so many conspiracy theories floating around and, are we in a simulation? What's going on? Like, it just came at a perfect time. And it's a movie that made you think, really made you think about kind of life. AI, this was back when, robots are going to take over. We're still talking about that, how AI is going to take over, and it probably will. But like, just the depth in that movie and the storytelling throughout, and Lawrence Fishburne, like, come on, man. Like, he's one of my favorite all-time actors. So to me, it was just an absolutely beautifully done movie. And that really kind of set up, you mentioned John Wick setting up their universe. The Matrix, not as successfully, in my opinion, did the same, where they set up that kind of Matrix universe and that Matrix world. Not as successful as the John Wicks did, but I appreciated it for what it was. And I remember seeing that in the theaters. I don't love a lot of the sequels that came after. I like Reloaded. Reloaded was great. After that, not so much, but overall, the original still holds up in my opinion, and it's deserving in the number 3 slot.
So my number 2 is The Devil's Advocate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is, I think, criminally underrated.
I agree.
It is an absolutely amazing movie. I mean, Pacino, as you mentioned, fantastic. Keanu Reeves, he plays kind of that mild-mannered lead really well. I think that's a common theme in many of his movies.
He does a great job with all his temptations throughout the movie. You know what I mean? Man. Number 2. I love it.
I mean, I remember the first time I saw that movie, I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect. I knew Pacino was in it. Keanu Reeves was Keanu Reeves, but he wasn't quite to the level he is now.
He was no Pacino. I mean, Pacino at that time was.
No, I mean, he was the big name attached.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely fantastic movie. Holds up.
Not gonna lie, it makes me want to watch The Devil's Advocate tonight.
It doesn't. I mean, you should. I should. Everyone watching should, because there's probably people watching this that have never seen it.
Number 2 for me. And again, it pains me that you haven't seen it yet, but John Wick 4 is coming in at my number 2 slot. And there's a reason for that. There's many reasons for that. I'm going to make a bold statement. You and I are both action movie junkies. We know that. We've watched so many together. We've had long, deep discussions. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that John Wick is the perfect action movie franchise. And there's many reasons for that. You get the best of every world within the when you look at the history of action movies, whether it's kung fu movies, whether it's Jackie Chan, all the way up to the diehards into the 90s, like there's so many different forms of it, but no one does it better, in my opinion. No one makes you feel that heart pounding, the sweat, that heavy breathing. Just you feel every bit of action in these movies. And John Wick 4, I'll be honest with you, it's almost a tie for my number one. And I'll get into that more in detail and I'll continue what I'm saying now. But it was so good. There's some things I didn't like, and you can check out our full review on the channel for John Wick 4 for more detail there. There were some things I didn't like, but as a whole, that movie was spectacular. I can't wait for you to see it, Rich. But yeah, go ahead with your number one, Rich.
All right. So my number one Keanu Reeves movie of all time is the original Matrix. Yeah, I mean, you said pretty much, everything. It came out at just the right time. There was a lot of it's like anxiety in society about technology, and Y2K was around the
Y2K,
corner. Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like people were really paranoid, questioning their
Mhm.
technology, and the Matrix just played right into that. And kind of the where's the line? Where do you draw the line between man and machine? And it was fantastic. There's never been anything like it.
No.
I know, there's been other sci-fi movies in the past, or prior to the Matrix, that kind of touched on AI and things like that, but certainly never to the level, never as well done, never in such a immersive world that was created by the Matrix. And while, to your point, the subsequent movies were not as good, uh, I'm still hopeful that maybe at some point they can reboot, turn it around. I feel like that whole world, that whole universe,
They dropped the ball on the last one, though,
they
time,
did,
and
for
I feel
sure.
like they missed their chance.
I hope that's not the case, because I really do, almost like Star Wars, there's such a rich universe that they can explore. Hopefully we get a trip down the rabbit hole again at some point in the future. But yeah, that's my number one pick for a Keanu Reeves movie. He was fantastic. That is, before John Wick, when you talked about Keanu Reeves,
Oh, 100%.
You immediately thought of Neo, and the black duster and the sunglasses, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so that's my
Hey,
number
man,
one.
I don't fault it. I expected our list to be different, but we were on the same
Pretty
page,
close.
different
Yeah,
orders. You can probably already guess what my number one is, and it's not even close. John Wick. I think
I really thought you were going to say Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
get the hell out of here, man. No. I like Bill and Ted's. I'm not like hating on Bill and Ted's, but listen, John Wick, up until the John Wick franchise came out, The Matrix was by far Keanu Reeves' best role. And I agree 100%. But then there's John Wick. John Wick did happen.
John Wick has consistently been top tier every single movie.
If you're going to put a gun to my head and ask me what I think the best Keanu Reeves movies are, John Wick with a bullet. That franchise is spectacular. I'm here for all of it. You can pump out another 5. Keep it going. I want all of it. I can't get enough. If you haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, go see John Wick 4. And after you see it, come back to the channel and check out our review, because we're going to break down in detail just why this movie was so damn good. But with a bullet, John Wick, number one. There's our top 5. Final thoughts, Rich.
I mean, there was a lot to choose from. You know, couple you mentioned didn't make my list.
Yep.
He's played some pretty diverse roles, but I
Yeah,
think you and I, between both our lists, I think we hit the main points.
we did.
Um, I thought our lists were going to be pretty similar, and they were.
Yeah.
So that was to be expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
there's
I've got
nothing that you mentioned that I completely disagree with. Everything on your list, you absolutely make an argument for it.
there is one thing I completely disagree with is speed not being on the list. I can't.
So uh, this is the one thing I will. Well, two things. I am not a big Sandra Bullock fan, and I am not a big Dennis Hopper fan.
I'm a huge fan of both.
If they were not in that movie and there were other people in those roles, it probably would have made my list. No fault of Keanu Reeves. I have a hard time watching it because I don't really care for either of those two actors.
We're gonna need a video in the future with Rich just explaining why he has hate for Dennis Hopper and Sandra Bullock.
I didn't say hate.
Hateful. He had some hateful words. But look, that's our top 5. Sound off in the comments, okay? Again, leave a like if you like the videos, everything that we're pumping out here, but more importantly, leave a comment. Let us know, A, whose top 5 was the real top 5, the true one, who's the winner here. You got 2 to choose from. We're going to bring you a top 5 every week. Let us know what you want us to rank, and let us know what you think in the comments on whose top 5 list was better. Hell, give us your own top 5. But at the very least, don't forget to leave a like. And if you're not already subscribed to Nerdstalgia, subscribe. We have a live show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where we talk about a whole host of subjects, all in the nerd realm. For Rich, I'm Tim. Thanks for joining us. That was our top 5. Have yourselves a great night. Thank you.